Hills Precious Metals Exchange is a client-focused firm devoted to assisting our clients with precious metals. Our clients range from first-time to serious coin collectors and investors seeking to add precious metals to their investment portfolios. We are not interested in volatile investments, leveraged products, and intangible assets. With rising inflation and the devaluing of the dollar hurting middle-class families, investing in gold and silver ensures protection for your hard-earned money. Save the value of your money today by investing in gold and silver at Beverly Hills Precious Metals.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, and I've got Andrew Sorchini back with us from Beverly Hills Precious Metals. And this is very important to have Andrew today because we have been talking about how May is a very important month, very critical month. And this weekend is biblically an incredibly important month because Passover was in April, and then we said 40 days from the eclipse takes us into this coming weekend, which is Pentecost. And many prophets have been speaking about things that could happen or could go down here this potential weekend. And so put the cherry on top of this entire conversation before we get started, those of you who have been watching some of the markets, we had something crazy happen yesterday, the 13th, Monday. We had AMC and GameStop explode vertical. What that means is it jumped in price, not a little bit, but crazy. It jumped in price in 24 hours from the moment it opened, went vertical over 100%. So it doubled in price. And this was the exact same thing that happened. I went back and looked at the charts. Those who remember, history, and this is in our lifetime, literally 3 years ago, at the end of January, and as February began, the same thing happened. You saw GameStop literally just out of nowhere just explode vertical. And this is important because we've talked about Andrew Sorchini, at some point, and not just Andrew, but any gold dealer and all gold dealers, if something like this happens on precious metals, forget about it. It's going to be crazy because they're just going to disappear and they're going to go no offers. So this is a stock we're talking about. During this time point, those who remember in 2021, January into February, I this morning I looked at the charts and I calculated the percentage move. So GameStop went 2,200% in a matter of like a week and a half. Okay. And that's why that's important, because in that same time window, right near the end of that, silver in a single day on Monday morning, the first day of February, went $3 and they stopped trading. They shut it down. Okay. So Andrew, welcome to the show, and let's talk finance, because this is an incredibly important time that we're living in. And give us all of your, whatever you might know as well about what happened with GameStop and AMC.
Oh yeah. So as far as GameStop and AMC, there's this Reddit group called Wall Street Bets, and we really haven't heard much from them for like the last, say, 3 years or so. But really, really big 3 years ago at the time point that you're talking about, led by one person that saw that AMC and saw that GameStop were going down, they're becoming obsolete, and wanted to do a short squeeze against the big brokerage houses that have short positions on those companies, basically betting that they're going to turn to nothing. So he created this like revolt on Reddit. It's they're known as meme stocks. Another one of them is BlackBerry, which is another one that's dying as well. And they want to save any company that's being short squeezed by the big brokerage houses out there. And I just think that the power behind this group of people, which are mostly teenagers or people in their 20s, learning how to invest for the first time and just following this one person, it's unbelievable. The reason why we mentioned him is that yesterday he posted on social media for the first time in 3 years a picture of a guy leaning back in a chair like this, and then it shows a forward motion as well, like he's telling people time to wake up, time to pay attention to what's happening, which is what Bo and I have been telling people for a long time. To me, I woke up with a similar feeling that gold's just going to run right to 3,000. It just seems so apparent to me that this is happening, and I just wish that other people could listen and understand why we believe this will happen.
See, the GameStop thing is not that we're focusing on the stocks. I want people to understand what happened. See, that's the essence. And it's a one single word, the word suddenly. You see, out of nowhere, GameStop doubled in price in a single day. And that's critical for understanding the word suddenly, because if that suddenly event manifests specifically in silver, holy mackerel, you're talking the most hated commodity in the world by the global elite. And so for silver to suddenly jump, double. So if it went, for example, double, so it went from 28 to where it is now, double, that would take it just under $60. Okay. That would be a new all-time high for silver. And I'm just showing you how these stocks, these random things, can just do it suddenly. And so Andrew and I have been on this podcast speaking numerous times, many, many times, and we've kind of coined this phrase beach day for Andrew. That's not saying Andrew's not going to have anything to do, okay? It's just the problem is Andrew and all the gold dealers will have the inability to buy precious metals, and so they won't know what to sell precious metals for. So the term we coined was beach day, because really you don't, when the price is doing what we're seeing right now with GameStop, as an example, exploding like that in price. The problem is this thing called spreads on silver. So no one knows, like, because the price is jumping every few seconds, and this is going to happen. And then the spread is like blowing up vertical in terms of like, what do you charge for a spread? And so everything becomes such a question. The biggest question mark in finance suddenly happens, that because of that, all the gold dealers, including Andrew, shut their doors for a day, for 3 days, a week. I don't know, but I do know this because this happened, and Andrew may expand on this. But I do know that on January 31, 2021, this happened. We saw GameStop explode vertical. It went vertical. It went over 2,000% after about a week and a half. And just as it was getting into the 2,000 mark or 1,500% mark, silver started to do the same thing. And then what happened was, going into the weekend, every single gold dealer, including Andrew, shut their doors on the last weekend of January 2021, because Andrew and every single gold dealer did not know what silver would be trading for on Monday morning. Correct?
It's true. It's what we had to do was create a buffer on what we were selling product for from Sunday to Monday. So if our spread on a Silver Eagle was $3.50 per ounce over the spot price, we'd have to bump that up to about $4.50 or $5, or just change our listings to sold out. So this really does happen, and I love that we always talk about this. If you look at the GameStop chart, it's gone vertical, like Bo always says. And we're not telling people to go out and invest in the stock market. I think investing in GameStop or AMC right now is very, very risky, even though it's blowing vertical right now. But this illustrates what's possible and what is probable with silver, that it can go up 100% in a single day. And the thing is when AMC or if GameStop go up 100%, or today GameStop's up 50%, when that happens, you know it's coming back down. We just don't know when, but it has no business being where it's at. But with gold and silver, if we see it blow vertical 100% in a single day, then we sit up in the chair, so to speak, and we go, wow, it finally happened. Here we are. And you believe that it's going to stay there because it's the world's real currency. It's the only real currency out there.
I want to show the viewers, this is what's happening right now in the markets. Okay. So no one's making this up. This is literally happening in the markets. Look what happens. This is GameStop right here. This is the stock ticker on GameStop. When you look at the stock ticker right here, what happened was on April 22nd, GameStop bottomed. Again, this is not telling you to do anything with GameStop. I'm not even touching GameStop. I don't care about it. What I am fascinated with is the cycle. You see, I study cycles. I study the timing of it. And so what we're seeing is GameStop bottomed here right around the third week of April on the 22nd, turned up. It went up, up, up. And then look what it did yesterday, which would have been the 13th. And it's up another double again today on the 14th of May. So what I want viewers to understand, look at this, for months, starting January, it'd move a tiny bit, tiny moves, all of a sudden, like out of nowhere. That's the key word here, out of nowhere. We want to use the word suddenly. Look what happened. In 2 trading days, it blew away price movement going back years. In 2 single days. So what we need to understand is this is biblical stuff that's happening right here, right now. I also want to share another screen here for you, Andrew, and the viewers as well, too. Let's pull up the screen here on historic move. This is actually the screen on GameStop. So I made this chart this morning just so the viewers can all see what really happened, to know that none of this is crazy. This is GameStop in the year 2021. So this is January, February. So we got January right here, 29th into February 2nd. So GameStop is the top right here. This is January 29th. It started moving on about the 13th of January, started going a little bit higher. Then it started jumping right around the 22nd of January. By the 25th, it leaped vertical, and then it just went completely exploded vertical. 22,200% in a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is that, like a week, 10 days? So what I want viewers to understand is when you look at this chart, let's compare it to what silver was doing. You see, silver was in lockdown mode. And then finally, when GameStop is blowing vertical here at the very, very tail end of the move, we've only seen in GameStop about 200%. This move is only starting so far. Okay, GameStop's probably going to run even more yet. But what I'm trying to compare this to is what it did with relative to silver. So as GameStop was topping out, silver started to move roughly a week, 10 days later. And look what it did here on February 1, Andrew. Remember we talked about the stops on a prior podcast with yourself and His Glory, Pastor Dave? We said there's a $3 stop. Look what happened. On Monday, February 1, it opened up at $27. They shut down trading through the weekend. You couldn't buy it. On Monday, February 1, it opened at $27. It ran up to $30. $3. They locked up trading after $3. They wouldn't let it go higher. And then the next day, Tuesday, they slammed it down and they crashed over $4 to $5 the following Tuesday. What I'm trying to show viewers is this ended the GameStop run. So as GameStop was ending, silver started and then suddenly exploded. So what we need to understand is, biblically, we're at a really critical time point. Why? Because biblically, Andrew and I have been speaking about with many podcasts, and I've been on numerous podcasts about talking biblical timing. Passover was in April. There's a second Passover, the 22nd of May, which is next week. But this part is the crazy part this weekend. This weekend is, if you remember the Jonah sign from the eclipse, 40 days and 40 nights is this weekend, Pentecost. And what a coincidence that this week started out with this intense biblical explosion again of some of these stocks that everybody hates. You see, like nobody needs. See, these things nobody hates and needs, they suddenly are going vertical. And like silver and gold, they tell you it's a rock, you don't need it. Silver, it's a relic. So is gold, it's a relic. You don't need any of this stuff. But yet we're seeing these things that no one even needs right now, like GameStop, AMC, and yet they're just they're multiplying in price overnight. So, Andrew, tell me a little bit about what you're seeing on the precious metal side. Do you have inventory? Are you getting a lot of phone calls right now? Give us all an update on what you're seeing in the physical market.
Well, we're seeing an uptick in interest for sure. So a lot of people are reaching out to us on our website, specifically with the idea of converting retirement accounts into precious metals IRAs. And many of the people are people that looked at this either with us or with other companies over the last 2 or 3 years and just opted to not do it, but they see the urgency now. We see the central banks right now are just buying up gold. Like billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of gold. And I know we've been talking about this for well over a year, but we've seen an uptick on that this year alone. That's why I believe that gold is probably going to run right toward 3,000. I think it'll break through that. And it's not too late for people to get gold and silver. And I don't mean to leave silver out because like we always say, what's good for gold is great for silver. So it's not too late. The premiums are very, very low. You're able to buy many different silver items right now for less than what you could have got it for in the last quarter of 2022 when the silver spot price was actually lower. The difference is that back then the premiums were higher. Right now they're lower. So it's an excellent time to get in, and it's not too late.
With regards to silver, silver is about to embark on a biblical move. We're about to see historic things manifest on our world. And I can, we don't want to tell people what to do because all of this in life is about free will. This is a battle between good and evil and the financial system. Okay. I've said this before, and Andrew, I know agrees. The financial system at this point in our existence is a complete and utter fraud. They create money out of thin air. They with clicks a button. They make as much money as they want at this point. There's so much liquidity out there. And because of this intense liquidity, they can move money around everywhere. But at some point, every currency, now this is on your website, isn't it, Andrew? Every currency that's ever, when I say currency, any money system ever created that's ever been in existence, aside from gold and silver, every single monetary instrument in time eventually went to what, Andrew?
It's gone to zero. They do. Every single one of them.
And that's what we need to understand. The US dollar is no different. Just because you were born into a financial system called the Federal Reserve, just because you've used it since you were born, just because your parents used it, doesn't mean anything. It just means that they've got high-speed computers and they're able to manipulate the price a lot longer. So this is this is a historic move. So in other words, for an interesting time point here, we've got about 111 years right now. The Federal Reserve was founded in 1913. And what do we've got going on in the world right now? We've got Arab-Israel conflict. Well, interestingly enough, the origins of the Arab-Israel conflict also began in 1913. And then I find something fascinating that there is this horse called Rich Strike that came from behind 2 years ago and won the entire Kentucky Derby. The last time a horse came from behind to win the entire Kentucky Derby was in 1913. What I'm showing you here is it's 111 years. The number is, called the perfect Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. But what I'm trying to show the viewers is we're at a mathematically perfect time point for things to manifest on the world. The financial system cannot continue the path it's on. What the global elite are trying to do, as Andrew's talked this numerous times, they're trying to bring on a central bank digital currency. Why? Because they have to shift from the Federal Reserve System because they've made so much money, so much currency. It's just crazy now. So they have to try to rein it in and bring controls to it. And the central bank digital currency is no different than a massive control system, what they're trying to do in China right now with a social credit score, because they can tie it to that. On the other side of this, gold and silver truly are outside any government controls, because I can literally give Andrew a silver coin and no one needs to know about it, could know about it unless we let someone know that we did it. And that's why they absolutely hate precious metals, gold and silver. So Andrew, tell us, what's your thought on the central bank digital currency, how it relates to gold, and how you can really stay outside of any kind of government financial system by owning precious metals?
Really, to me, gold and silver are the only asset that you could own that's outside of the centralized banking system, because even if you compare it to real estate, okay, you go and you buy an apartment building or a condo or a home, even if you paid for it in cash, you still have to wire those funds from a bank account. So the only way for you to have portable wealth that is not on anyone's radar except for you is gold and silver. And I believe that the central bank digital currency that's gold backed is inevitable, because so many places out there don't want to take cash anymore. we're so used to pulling out credit cards for the longest time. Now, many of us are becoming a little bit more comfortable with leaving the credit cards in the wallet and just using things like Cash Apps or like Apple Pay. And that's how the central bank digital currency will be. There'll be digits on a phone that are backed by something real out there. And it's inevitable. Like when you and I are no longer here, Bo, when we're completely gone and our children are the ones who run in the world, it's going to be working exactly that way. You pay for everything with your phone, or even they talk about putting a chip under the skin, paying for things with the palm. I've even seen in Dubai now, they have facial recognition where you can pay for metro. You can pay for like a bus fare with your face. You can pay in the grocery store with your face. And I think that's where we're headed, where it's all linked to a digital currency. So if privacy matters to you, and not having people meddling in your affairs, trying to tell you what you can and cannot spend your money on, I think you should own some gold and silver. Even if you don't agree, own some gold and silver and let this play out.
If you haven't studied history, you'll never understand what's about to happen. History has proven that every single monetary instrument that's ever been created by man has gone to zero, just like Andrew said, okay? The US dollar is no different. The US dollar in time will go to absolutely zero, okay? Not tomorrow, but in time, it'll go to zero. I truly believe it by the end of this decade. I believe in this year, 2024, the US dollar suddenly, I'm going to use the word suddenly, is going to get a 30% haircut overnight. And we've got the BRICS nations ready to attack the dollar. Putin and the EU, they've all had enough. They've all had enough of the globalists that are using the US dollar as a control mechanism globally. And so Putin's actually stated that on one of the podcasts that he did with Tucker.
To use the dollar as a tool of foreign policy struggle is one of the biggest strategic mistakes made by the US political leadership. The dollar is the cornerstone of the United States power, but they won't stop printing. What does the debt of $33 trillion tell us about? As soon as the political leadership decided to use the US dollar as a tool of political struggle, a blow was dealt to this American power. I would not like to use any strong language, but it is a stupid thing to do and a grave mistake. Look at what is going on in the world. Even the United States allies are now downsizing their dollar reserves. Seeing this, everyone starts looking for ways to protect themselves. But the fact that the United States applies restrictive measures to certain countries, such as placing restrictions on transactions, freezing assets, etc., causes grave concern and sends a signal to the whole world. Do you even realize what is going on or not? Does anyone in the United States realize this? What are you doing? You are cutting yourself off. All experts say this. Ask any intelligent and thinking person in the United States what the dollar means for the US. You're killing it with your own hands.
So we're at a moment in time where things are about to manifest on this world. The US dollar will be dethroned as the world reserve currency in the year 2024. I'm telling you, whether you believe or not, it is going to happen. You cannot stop. History has proven every currency gets dethroned. Every currency falls. The US dollar is no different. We're at a moment in time where things are about to change. The 50-year mark for the petrodollar contract arrives June 9th of 2024. So we're at a really critical moment in time. We're watching several stocks starting to blow vertical. Again, they have really no direct relationship to silver and gold, aside from the fact that this type of an event happened 3 years ago. And we just saw literally a few days later, silver and gold decided to follow suit and started to jump vertical. If silver and gold jump vertical, this is a huge problem. Silver at probably in a single day, I honestly believe is going to go, like Andrew says, probably $3,000. I think Andrew's right. I think Andrew's actually being conservative. But again, it's okay to be conservative, right? Nothing wrong with being conservative. I think 3,000 is a very realistic target for a single day. And then right after that, a few hours later, maybe a day later, it's going to go to 4,000. And so what I'm saying is I honestly think gold is going to go to $4,000 in a heartbeat in probably 24 hours. And if that event happens, Andrew's not going to know what the heck to sell gold for because it's happening so quickly. And what are the spreads on top of that? And then silver, I honestly think, like I've said before, is probably $68 to $70 in a single day. And the problem with all of this happening is like GameStop. They shut the trading down on GameStop. They shut it down 9 times yesterday. They shut down trading on GameStop 9 times yesterday. And then this is from the CME. I've shown this before in prior podcasts, but the CME on December 5, 2014, they have 4 levels of stops. Everyone's $3 on silver. Every $3, they shut it down for 5 minutes. On gold, they shut it down after $100. After $400 or $12 on silver, the triggers, the computer software programs will reverse and go net long, and we're going to see a massive explosion on silver and gold. And here's the problem for those that are sitting on the fence to see, hey, is Bo, right about this? Is Andrew, are they right about it? Could this really happen? See, when this happens, this is the thing that's going to happen in an event like this. It goes no offer. One big guy is going to step up and buy all above ground gold and silver, and it's gone. So silver becomes from like, hey, the spreads are inexpensive right now, you got a pretty good price on it, to you can't get it. And that is honestly what's about to happen. Silver is going to be coined unobtainium. You will not be able to get it because it's called precious metals. And to expand.
Oh, it's precious metals because we all hold it in such high regard. It's not just here, it's the entire world. And just to expand on the dollar losing its status as the world's reserve currency, our own former president and possible next president, Trump, has even gone on and said that the effects of us losing the world's reserve currency status would be greater than losing any war.
Recent widespread report has concluded that more than half of central banks worldwide plan to shift their holdings from US dollars to gold.
I'm talking about our currency being used throughout the world.
You want it to remain. You want the dollar to remain the world's reserve currency.
Well, I think it's bigger than losing any war. I think if it doesn't, look, we are already reverting to third world status in many ways. You look at our airports, you look at our terminals, you look at our filthy roads and broken roads and everything else. We're like a third world country. We have something that's very powerful, and that's our dollar all over. But you take a look at what's happening to it now with other countries not using it. And China wants to replace it with the yuan. And it was unthinkable with us. Unthinkable. Would never have happened. Now people are thinking about it. That could happen.
He's not kidding. It sounds like sounds like he's trying to be dramatic, but not at all. This is a very, very serious issue that we need to do something about right now to be able to protect everything that you've ever worked for, and more importantly, your privacy. Because if we move to a central bank digital currency, like we probably will anyway, some of your transactions will be subject to being approved or not approved. And I want to be able to do whatever I want with my money. I've already paid taxes on it. So if I want to give it to someone, if I want to spend it on gasoline for a car when we're going electric, to me, that's my business. So it's important to do so.
You can't stop what's coming. The world is going to go digital. At some point in the future, there will be the mark of the beast. It's written in the Bible. You cannot stop what's coming. So the goal here is to own precious metals. Personal choice. But for me, my choice is to own precious metals. Why? Because I can transact outside of any governmental, financial, business dealings. Period. That's the number one reason to own precious metals. Andrew, I know you got to go. How can people find you? And tell us a little bit about, how quick transactions can manifest via cash transactions or like sending a wire or 401ks and IRAs.
Okay, so reach out to us at bh-pm.com. Again, that's bh-pm.com. And on the homepage, there's a form that you can fill out, put in your name, email address, phone number, and say that Gold 2020 forecast or that Bo sent you. And in the notes section, just put in some notes there. One of the things that I'm seeing a lot of are how can I roll over a 401k into a precious metals IRA and have it be a non-taxable event? You can do that. And if you put that in there, I'll get you over to our IRA department. Our lead time is about maybe 24 hours, and we'll get with you and we'll explain to you how it works. And this isn't a high pressure type deal. We will let you know that there is urgency here, but if you need time to take a step back and talk with your family or your financial advisor or even pray about it, we always recommend that you do that. So we'd like to extend for anybody out there, even if you just have questions, definitely fill out the online form and let us get back with you.
Thank you, Andrew. God bless you. Thank you for being here. And again, viewers,
I'm just telling you, we're in biblical times. We're seeing biblical things manifest. May is supposed to be an incredibly important time point. Andrew, thank you for being here. God bless.
Hi, this is Bo Polny. I have an official announcement and update with regards to the release and pre-order of my new book, Revelation, the Good News. First, thank you to all the amazing people who pre-ordered my book. Actually, it's really not my book, it's God's book, for it is He who revealed to me the biblical timing that is detailed within this book. So all glory to God. Second, we never expected such an incredible response from all of you loyal, amazing people. And consequently, our entire first print was sold out, and we ended up needing to double the quantity of that first print to meet demand. So here it is, finally, the ship date. The ship date for all pre-orders are expected to go out on or about May 7th, which is 2 weeks before readers can buy it in stores at regular price. And yes, you heard me correctly. Because of the pre-order excitement that was generated by the pre-sales, the large book chain distribution companies have reached out to my publicist asking to have our book available in many top U.S. department stores, including Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and others. So again, thank you deeply for your loyalty in pre-ordering the book. Again, those who purchased the book on our website, gold2020forecast.com, will be the first to receive the book 2 weeks before it is released and available in bookstores throughout the United States. And for those first hearing about this book, let me give you a quick summary. It is a prophetic understanding of God's perfect timing from creation to his coming return. It is explosive. It is the first book I have ever written and will explain and illustrate with beautiful full color, full page graphics of God's timing of events into the end of the age, the end of days. After reading it, you will want to keep this beautiful book on your coffee table and share it with all of your friends and family. This book is going to open your eyes to present day events and how they are occurring with mathematical perfection as they directly fulfill events prophesied in Revelation, in the book of Revelation, over 2,000 years ago. God speaks through his written word. It's called the Bible. He speaks through his servants, the prophets. And yes, he speaks through math, numbers. If you want to see how truly perfect his timing is and the specific calculations he has revealed about our future into the end of the age, the end of days, this book has all the incredible details. Here's a glimpse of the cover and a few inside images. I doubt there's a book like this anywhere in the world. It illustrates God's perfect timing calculations from creation to the book of Revelation, including the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and the 7 seals of Revelation. It includes the great eclipse that just occurred in April and the coming great Egyptian eclipses, the coming aliens, yes, aliens, we talk about aliens, the rise of Antichrist and the mark of the beast, the coming rapture, and all the way to the likely timing of Christ's return, and much, much more. The mathematical calculations revealed are beyond any human probabilities, clearly illustrating the end of days were written by the hand of God at the beginning. It has a lot of surprises and will open your eyes to how great our God is. I believe it's going to blow your mind and get you excited and prepared for the times ahead. It'll give you a way to look at recent events in our world and give you the power and understanding of how long we really have into the end of days and how all things are working together for good. That's why, after reading this book, you'll begin to see how Revelation, like the Bible, is the good news. So, if you want to get a copy of this book and you haven't got it yet, pre-order it. Go to our website, gold2020forecast.com. When you're at the checkout page, be sure to enter the code 777, and that code will give you a 30% discount. So again, be sure to use the code to save the 30%. This is Bo Polny. I love you. Jesus Christ loves you. And I know you will love this book. Fasten your seatbelts for May. God bless.